What's going on? This is my review of the 2020 YZ250F that I bought late October of 2019. Just to give you a little bit of background before I tell you about this thing, just like as a disclaimer, I've never bought a new 250F before. My 250F before this was a 13 RMZ and it was used. So I can't really compare this to any of the other new 250s. This is kind of just going off of my previous bikes. I had a 05 CR125 and then the 13 RMZ. So just a little bit of background so you know kind of where my thoughts are coming from. So right off the bat, compared to the RMZ, power is on another level. The RMZ honestly doesn't even compare to this. It makes over 40 horsepower at 13,000 RPM, so you don't necessarily have to always be looking for another gear or shifting down in a corner. As far as the power goes, I don't really notice anything different as changing the maps goes. That might come in the future whenever I have a little more time on the bike. But I've mainly just been running the stock map for most of the time that I've had it. I only have about 10 hours on it, a lot less than I would have hoped to have by now, but I bought it right before winter, so I wasn't really able to ride at all over the winter, and then with coronavirus coming in the spring, it was hard to ride in the spring, so I'm just now starting to be able to ride it a lot more. I don't have any problems with the chassis and how it feels. I know a lot of people, their criticism of the Yamaha is that it's really wide, but in 2019 they kind of slimmed it out and it doesn't feel uncomfortable to me at all. My friend has a 17 YZ and this definitely feels a lot slimmer. I haven't done anything to the bike. It's 100% stock. Everything feels comfortable the way it is, so I'm not really going to change anything unless I have to or if I find something that I don't like. But as far as the exhaust goes, yeah, it's really loud. I didn't realize how loud it was until I would be at the track and there was other people with the same bike as me, and you hear it over every other bike at the track. It's like deafeningly loud. So I do plan on getting an exhaust for this in the future. I think over the winter I'm gonna kind of go through it and put some parts on it, maybe plastics, graphics, stuff like that. For this first season that I have it, I kind of wanted to just keep it stock and see how I liked it. Now I did have a couple issues with this bike, which was pretty frustrating because out the door it was like $8,500, and the whole idea of buying a new bike was to have no issues and not have to deal with anything like that. The battery died on me, and I think that was just because when I bought it, it was fall and the weather was starting to get colder, and it just sat in my garage for one night and the battery died. I would definitely recommend getting a maintenance charger for it, just like a trickle charger. These lithium-ion batteries are really expensive. They'll run like $400 at some places. You usually have to order them through a dealership, so the price can vary either way. Basically, I have a leash attached to the battery, which is under the seat, and it goes out past the subframe on the other side of the bike. And whenever I'm done riding my bike or done washing it, whatever, I just hook it up to the charger and it stays on all the time. So when my battery did die, Hillview Motorsports out here in Pennsylvania, they replaced it for free, which was pretty nice. But that wasn't the only problem I had. The other thing was that it was running really rich, and I actually fouled 2 spark plugs with it. In just about 8 hours, I fouled 2 plugs. Come to find out from talking to people at the track and finding stuff online, these run really rich from the factory. Rumor has it that they fixed it with like the second batch that came through, so if you're buying one of these late, you might be okay. Luckily, changing the spark plug isn't too hard. You don't really have to disconnect anything. You can just kind of lift the tank out, and it's pretty much right underneath the tank. So it's not too bad, but still, I didn't want to have to worry about fouling spark plugs on a 4-stroke. So I took it back to Hillview. They basically hooked it up to a computer and leaned it out. I wasn't really comfortable like manually tuning it with the Power Tuner app, just because I didn't want to seriously mess anything up. So I let them take care of it. They got in contact with Yamaha and they leaned it out, and since then it's been running really good. As far as the break-in went, I didn't do too long of a break-in. I would say about 3 hours. I can't really remember, it's been a while now, but I'd say about 3 hours of heat cycles. Everyone's gonna tell you something different as far as break-in period. The dealership told me 10 hours, but there was no way I was gonna run heat cycles on this bike for 10 hours. I do have a few clips of riding that I'll throw in the video, just so you can kind of get an idea of this exact bike. If you're a really advanced rider, there's a lot of content on YouTube that you could find of other people riding this bike. But for me, being like basically novice intermediate rider, this thing's really good. I would say this thing can fit a wide variety of riders. So another thing to watch out for, this is what the dealership told me, and I've had a couple other people tell me this. I guess they call it like a fuel enricher or something like that. It's basically a choke for this thing. They tell you not to leave it on for very long because it's running rich already, and the choke just makes it run even more rich. One of the times that my spark plug fouled was actually when I was warming my bike up using the choke. When I shut the choke off, it just died, and that was it. Like I said, I'm sure there's a lot of people that use the choke all the time, so this isn't like 100% the cause of any of my issues, but it's something to look into. Another thing, I'd like to apologize for not making a video in 5 months. I've been getting tons of support on my last couple videos. I've been getting a lot of new subscriptions, so that's really appreciated. I'm going to be able to start filming at the track more, so I'll have a lot more riding footage of this. One other thing before I go, a couple months ago, or actually like a month ago or so, I went back to Hillview and I bought a 2020 TTR 110 to go with this thing. It's pretty sweet. As far as a 110 goes, I mean, it's about what you get with a 110. I don't really know how to compare it to anything else. Most of all, it's just a lot of fun. It's pretty sweet. It looks a lot like this. It has the same exact styling on the shrouds and stuff. So I'll throw in a couple clips of me riding that as well. So like I said, definitely stay tuned, and I'll be back with another video pretty shortly. Thanks for all the support lately, and I'll see you guys in the next video.